Hey guys, tonight we're diving into something a little different, a journey through time. Picture this, you're nestled into your favorite corner of the couch, surrounded by pillows that are more for decoration than support, with a blanket that's somehow always the perfect temperature. The soft glow from a candle flickers gently, casting shadows that dance lazily on the wall like they're putting on a private show just for you. Outside, maybe it's raining lightly, or perhaps the world has that late-night silence, broken only by the soft purring of a sleepy cat curled beside you. We're about to unravel the mystery of forgotten medieval holidays. Expect the unexpected, because you probably won't survive this sleepy whirlwind. Before you get too comfy, feel free to tap like or subscribe, but only if you're genuinely enjoying the calm around here. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far this sleepy little journey reaches. Now, go ahead and lower the lights. Maybe let a fan hum in the background, and let's drift gently into tonight's story together. You wake up on a chill morning, wrapped in layers of blankets and quilts, the enticing aroma of burning wax tickling your nostrils. It's Candlemas, a holiday that signals the beginning of the end of winter's cold grip, celebrated on February 2nd. You shuffle into the small, stone-floored room, exhaling misty breaths as you go. The air is still as chilly as a forgotten can of soda in the back of the fridge. Luckily, there's the soft glow of candles everywhere, warming the soul, if not quite the toes. And here's the quirky twist. To keep things interesting, Candlemas included a strange ritual where people would bless sheep. Yep, you didn't mishear that. It was sheep who got the special treatment, probably enjoying their 15 minutes of fame, unaware of their podium moment. This curious tradition gave the shepherds a brief holiday, reminding you of times when you set 5 alarms for a snooze fest and ignore all of them, claiming at least one is for show. Candlemas's connection to candles isn't just for aesthetics. This holiday roots back to the Romans, who would process with candles, and Christians later adopted this custom to symbolize Jesus as the light of the world. It's like when a meme goes viral, and every platform adopts it until it starts showing up in your dream, like an influencer in medieval garb. Historians still argue whether Candlemas is deeply linked to even older pagan festivals. The intersection of religious symbolism and winter rituals makes this holiday a curious puzzle piece in the vast mosaic of history. Some believe it's woven from the threads of Imbolc, a Gaelic festival marking the beginning of spring, celebrated much like one might tidy up one's desk at 3 a.m. in hopes that it spurs a new, organized life chapter. The experience wouldn't be complete without the procession of little candles, leading everyone to the local church, making everything look like a dreamy scene from a Netflix period drama. The freezing church interiors didn't stand a chance against the sea of soft lights, casting a golden glow over cold stone walls, warming hearts if not the skin. You might find yourself chuckling. Imagine back then, as people trooped in with their sheep, only to head into a solemn service. It sounds a bit like logging onto a virtual work meeting while donning fuzzy slippers just below the frame. It reminds you of that feeling when you stare at unread notifications and hope they'll just disappear due to sheer willpower alone. As you snug deeper under the blankets, it turns into one of those slow afternoons when the world outside pauses, and you're grateful for the peaceful moments, the history of these forgotten holidays brushing lightly against the surface of your thoughts. A time when festivities seemed simple in their complexity. A reminder that humanity has been celebrating, feasting, and yes, sometimes even bewildering for many centuries. You take a deep breath, the calming scent of the candle mingling with the imagined smell of fresh hay and sheep that ranks highly. Were you ever to dream of pastoral laundries? The story of Candlemas weaves effortlessly in with the night, the tale settling in the quiet crevices of your mind, becoming a soft whisper against the backdrop of a sleepy ambiance. If your imagination wanders, that's perfectly okay. We're gliding into a time of historic curiosity, bathed in candle glow, alive with the half-remembered scent of wax and softly bleating sheep. You shrug off the lingering tendrils of sleep and find yourself wandering through the pages of time, stepping into the vibrant world of St. Nut's Day. I know. Yet another holiday that sounds like it could come with its own Netflix miniseries. Picture this. It's mid-January, and the festive afterglow of Christmas is fading like the last bite of holiday leftovers that you meant to savor, but, well, didn't. On this day, you walk into a grand room filled with the remnants of holiday trimmings, tinsel still dangling precariously from the branches of a slightly droopy Christmas tree. The air carries the sweet musk of pine, mingling with just the faintest whiff of orange peels from last season's fruit. And here's where St. Knut steps in, a Swedish holiday, a gallant knight ushering the end of Yuletide, which might explain why he's often called the King of Knut. Here's the wild part. People used to celebrate St. Knut's Day by grabbing all the decorations and literally dancing Christmas out the door. Imagine your neighbor suddenly breaking into a joyful jig while evicting tinsel as if it were an unwanted house guest. Honestly, it's like Marie Kondo met Eurovision, and they thought this was worth celebrating. Legend has it that Knut, with his regal strength, is the patron saint of getting rid of your holiday clutter. You could take a leaf out of his book when you watch organizing videos instead of actually, tackling the clothes pile in the corner. And let's be honest, sometimes just thinking about cleaning feels productive enough. Historians still argue whether Knut's tale is rooted in actual events, or if it's more of a charming myth. One of those stories that puff up over the centuries, changing shape like a cloud you try to describe, but only end up making the shape weirder. Who knew a holiday could hold so much legendary intrigue? You might find yourself wondering if Knut was just really against Christmas cookies lingering too long, concerned they might disrupt the realm's balance. A relatable king, indeed. St. Knut's Day also has its chuckle-worthy moments, like the tradition of a plundering party. You're invited over to a friend's house to, finish all the leftovers and goodies. Yes, it's a sanctioned invitation to raid someone's pantry, just when you're thinking there couldn't possibly be another holiday that practically implores indulgence right after the New Year's resolutions. The ritual of dancing around and singing as decorations are peeled off bit by bit is akin to replying LOL to a text just to diffuse awkwardness, though you're not actually laughing. It's all a bit of harmless fun, bringing light to the darker corners of the Scandinavian winter, kind of like using warm socks as a form of therapy against cold toes. As evening softens and the day stretches thinly like golden butter on hot bread, the curtain gently falls on this unusual festivity. You might drift into musings about how centuries-old traditions echo into today. Our human love for revelry wrapped in shared laughter and kinship. Whether majestically in old Swedish tales or quietly in your circle of friends, It's a dance of time and memory, a rich celebration of endings just as much as beginnings, like the closing note that says, "Don't forget to unsubscribe when you want to." But in a warmer world, where everyone embraces even the tiniest feats of closure, letting this chapter sink into the edge of your thoughts, you feel the warmth of shared laughter and wayward traditions nestling into the night, softening the twilight hour and settling the mind like a whispering lullaby. You find yourself on another gentle stroll through the misty corridors of time, stepping softly into the heart of a celebration that blends warmth, tradition, and just a touch of poetic magic. It's St. Bridget's feast day, and you can almost feel the soft rustle of woven reeds brushing against your fingertips as you walk into a room aglow with flickering hearths and more flickering shadows. Imagine you're swaddled in that favorite scarf that defies all laws of warmth to weird pattern ratios, making you feel like an autumnal blanket burrito. St. Bridget's Day blossoms on the 1st of February, right at the crossroads of winter beginning to nod off and spring stirring ever so slightly. You enter a world where people once exchanged simple joys. A loaf of warm bread emerging golden and steaming from an old stone oven, the crust crackling cheerfully like that last satisfying bit of knuckle massage when you finally close all those 27 tabs you kept open, just to pretend you were incredibly productive. The weird twist here is the crafting of the St. Bridget's cross. Bent from reeds or rushes, you'd weave them into T-shaped configurations, supposedly protecting homes from evil spirits, unwanted drafts, and maybe, if you were lucky, those ninja-level sneezes that surprise you while testing just how far your eyes can close without actually falling asleep at your desk. This day is doused in both festivity and tranquility, with people coming together to celebrate not just the harvest, but their hopes for the future. Saint Bridget herself, a luminous figure, is weedily associated with sharing and generous hospitality, meaning you'd never leave without being offered something to feast upon. Sounds like the perfect opportunity to Google perfect mashed potato recipe at a suspiciously early hour, only to find yourself munching on leftover takeout anyway. Tradition births laughter here, especially with the many rhymes and poems exchanged, weaving a sense of closeness and joy among friends and family. Imagine attending a feast where everyone improvises limericks, perhaps with the humor level of your group chat that you mute but secretly monitor for fear of missing out on the weird wordplays. You'd quickly discover the brilliance of lyrics flying around like confetti, making you chuckle in dimly lit rooms under the low hum glow of fairy lights, half imagining Bridget herself being a stowaway in that hilarious group chain. Now, historians go in circles debating if Saint Bridget has pagan roots, similar, perhaps, to the suspicious way you reinstate social apps barely after you've removed them in hopes of a Zen life reboot. Is Bridget reflective of an ancient goddess, folded neatly into Christian stories? Or does her origin sprout from tales that have been forgotten or reshaped with time? As the celebration wears on, the skies outside leave trails of lavender and indigo, while the night draws its velvet curtains, enfolding the day in whispered goodbyes. You might find yourself dreaming with the rhythmic crackle of old logs flickering stories into the void, a cozy reminder of traditions gone by, sparking a tender warmth in your heart. As your eyes grow heavy and the tales linger, the world drifts as softly as that chimney smoke that wove through stories and time, leaving you feeling wonderfully content in the sleepy lull of an evening shared with history's echoes, still wrapped in the warmth of old tales, you find yourself sliding into the midst of Lupercalia, a festival that's more of a wild card than your typical Spotify playlist, refusing to stick to one mood. Picture this. You're wandering the cobblestone streets of ancient Rome, the air thick with mystery and perhaps a hint of mischief. It's mid-February, and as you glance around, you realize this isn't your average love affair with Valentine's Day chocolates. No, this is Lupercalia, the rowdy ancestor of modern love fests, where things got a little wild. You step into the festivities, and suddenly you're in the company of toga-clad revelers, metaphorically embracing the winter to spring transition with unabashed energy. It's like when you send that one meme that's too strange even for your eccentric friend group, hoping it sparks joy and a touch of confusion in equal measure. Lupercalia kicks off with a half-serious, half-amusing series of rituals. Men race through the streets, brandishing thongs made from freshly sacrificed goats. Yep, you heard that right. A bit different from sending witty gifts to friends on a lazy Sunday afternoon, simply hoping to get a reaction. They would slap women's outstretched hands with these thongs for fertility luck, proving that history never fails to surprise. Historians still argue whether Lupercalia was more about celebrating fertility or expelling evil spirits, like the haunting anxiety of opening work emails first thing Monday. The truth probably lay messy, somewhere in between, like the contents of your breakfast sandwich that insists on escaping with every bite, leaving only a happy kind of chaos in its wake. The quirky side of Lupercalia saw young men drawing women's names from jars, pairing them up for dances and more festive revelry. It's like the ultimate icebreaker, long before swipe rights were a thing, except with marginally fewer phone screens and a lot more chanting. You might picture the awkwardness in the first moments, much like waiting for someone to send the first message in a group chat, wondering who's going to break the digital ice. Later on, these exuberant rituals transformed into elaborate banquets, filled with an array of delicacies bound to send anyone into gastronomic bliss or a food coma. The choice remains yours. The sense of roasted meats mingled with aromatic wines fill the senses, reminiscent of being overstimulated by food vlogs at 3 a.m, only to end up grabbing instant noodles for that much-needed midnight snack. As the festivities come to a close, the stars twinkle above, tingling memories into stories of wild times when the world felt untamed and alive, doused in primal allure and candlelit murmurings. With a faint smile on your lips, you reflect on how far humanity's celebrations have evolved while still cherishing remnants of chaos and camaraderie. The night nods gently to you, swirling your thoughts into calmer waters, where even the most ancient echoes find solace. Lupercalia's bold embrace of tradition slips quietly into gentle twilight. With eyelids softening and thoughts mellowing into dreams, the past lays a gentle hand on your shoulder, leaving you cradled in a timeless warmth. The evening wraps you up in a cozy reminder of shared laughter and long-forgotten revelries, etched in the tapestry of night's quiet meditation. You find yourself waking up into the peculiar mischief of another medieval hallmark, the Feast of Fools. Imagine it's early January, a time when the world feels suspended in that post-holiday lull, where every email you read seems to beg the question, does this really need my attention? Or can it simmer until the caffeine kicks in? Now, picture a medieval town bustling with an air of rebellious joy. Sounds like a total party in the making, doesn't it? The Feast of Fools wasn't your typical holy affair. Oh no, it was the ultimate topsy-turvy day, where lowly choir boys might find themselves suddenly elevated to bishop status for a day. Imagine a medieval version of Freaky Friday on a liturgical twist. Everyone's roles and rules were flipped upside down. Kind of like when you decide to binge watch cleaning videos all night instead of, actually cleaning. This day was all about mischief and mockery, a splash of the absurd against the backdrop of everyday life. You'd see people adorned in outrageous costumes, jesters and clergy alike, parading down cobblestone streets, bluntly poking fun at the serious hierarchies of the church, literally painting over rules like a game of blackout poetry, turning solemnity into satire, a comedic ballet that seems strangely fitting for a New Year's reset before resolutions fully take hold. Historians still argue whether the Feast of Fools began as a genuine release valve for societal tension, or as a profoundly ironic commentary on religious authority. Either way, it's not unlike staring into your wardrobe for 10 full minutes, wondering if today's the day you break out that funky print hidden since 2017. Just because you can. And here's the cheeky twist. During the celebration, you'd often find what could only be described as impromptu liturgies that were more theatrical performances of comedic errors than earnest prayer. If you've ever rehearsed a school play and seen it derail into giggles and forgotten lines, you'll get the vibe. Just remember to hold on to that solemn expression at all costs, even when jokes fly faster than confetti does at an unkindly windswept street parade. One peculiar gambit of this festive folly involved slipping absurd and frankly hilarious bits of text into church songs. Imagine singing hymns that suddenly boggle into lyrical jazz, a musical prank reminiscent of trying to insert banana into a serious work meeting to see who'd notice. You've tried it, don't lie. As the laughter weaves into an ever-fading echo and twilight gathers its starry veil, the question lingers. What did it all mean? Was it a triumph over the mundane, or simply a rebellious holiday that somehow flew under the disapproving radar of history? We'll never fully know, much like the origins of fruitcakes, or if anyone truly likes those overly frosted holiday cookies. You may find yourself slowly sinking into the softness of this story, the hum of forgotten music playing in the recess of your mind like a lullaby. The evening settles in with all its quirky laughter and gentle absurdity, leaving you wrapped in thoughts of jesters past and present. You take a deep breath and let the weight of the day melt away like snow on a cathedral rooftop, slipping softly into dreams as if on cue from some ancient, timeless humor. Still, enveloped in the afterglow of laughter and riddles, you find yourself drawn towards the crackling warmth of midsummer madness. Imagine the longest day of the year, casting its golden glow through an emerald canopy, painting the world in light so alive it could practically hum. You're stepping into a festive dream where the air buzzes with energy, thicker than the humidity that clings to you on a summer's day. It's late June, and the countryside is abloom with the scent of wildflowers. Bonfires begin to rise high against the evening sky, sparks flitting upward like fireflies finally learning to dance. You're stepping into a celebration that's more about leaping than lounging. Literally, festival goers would jump over these roaring fires, believing it would purify or bless them, like a medieval precursor to jumping into a frigid lake for fun, or for TikTok views, depending on the audience. Now, Midsummer Madness wasn't just for leaping and dancing. It was a tapestry of ancient customs and superstitions entwined with the here and now. From gathering healing herbs, which were supposedly supercharged with magical potency from the solstice sun, to serenading the stars with songs older than the stones beneath your feet. Maybe it feels a little like scrolling through your grandparents' photo albums, seeing their stories in sepia-toned memories and discovering they weren't much different from you. Here's the wild twist. Folks genuinely believe these nights held not just enchantments, but mischievous spirits too. You might find yourself channeling those spirits when you navigate a room in the dark without stubbing a toe. Back then, however, it meant wearing garlands or carrying flowers to fend off these tricksters, like natural filters before filters were a thing. Historians still argue whether these customs originated from deep pagan rituals or if they were more of a collective wish for good fortune come autumn harvest. It's the age-old debate. Was it all spiritual insurance or just an excuse for a knees up? Like how you research recipes, but somehow end up with takeout instead, promising next time will be different. The fire-jumping festivities came with their own set of challenges, like avoiding singeing your edges, a feat unto itself if the storyteller's tales of narrow escapes are anything to go by. Remember, back then, fire safety meant don't set yourself on fire, a historical quirk if there ever was one. As laughter mingled with the crackle of firewood and stories wove into the warm embrace of the night air, the sky darkened reluctantly, cloaking the world in a tapestry of deep blues and purples. Stars blink open, shimmering like diamonds dusted across the velvet of night, and the fires crackle softer now, whispering tales of old to those gathered near. As the night wraps its arms around the earth, you feel the weight of tradition softly cradling you, as comforting as a familiar voice reading the last page of your favorite book. The hum of ancient joys linger at the edges of your mind, easing you into a gentle slumber where the dance of warm flames and cool night air lull you further still in the quiet cradle of ancient tales and time's soothing heartbeat. Emerging from the quiet echoes of midsummer, you find yourself on the cusp of another vibrant celebration, St. John's Eve. Picture this. It's a balmy June evening, just past the summer solstice, and the horizon is painted with hues of pink and orange, as if the sky itself is blushing from the excitement of the night to come. You drift into a world where the twilight seems to linger, wrapped in an embrace of soft possibilities. The last glow of the sun clings to the edge of the world, refusing to give up the day entirely, as puffs of bonfire smoke rise lazily into the air. Known in many regions as the modern festival of fire, St. John's Eve is more than just a visual treat. It's a sensory experience where magical and religious traditions weave together like strands of a beautifully tangled yarn. People gather around these bonfires, not merely for warmth, but for stories. You can almost hear the murmurs of old legends mixed with new jokes, punctuated by the crackling wood like popcorn on a lazy movie night. And here's the quirky yet endearing tradition. Folks would leap through these flames, believing it would bring them good luck or love, which sounds like history's version of get a haircut, change your life. But with more singed eyebrows at stake, historians still argue whether these fiery traditions stem back to pagan rituals celebrating fertility and growth, or if they evolved into standalone customs as Christianity spread. Much like trying to track your New Year's resolution from January to July, the intent may get a bit fuzzy, but the burning ambition remains. Now here's the part that adds a little pinch of mystery. These southern bonfires were sometimes believed to possess the power to drive away witches and evil spirits. Imagine a time when the biggest worry wasn't spilling coffee on your laptop, but the thought of hexes floating around unchallenged. You'd probably wear your most potent amulet, which in today's terms might be more like a favorite power suit jacket than an actual charm. Modern times haven't diluted the zest of this celebration. Even today, in parts of Europe, you might find folks tossing herbs into the flames or whispering wishes to the flames, hoping St. John's Eve doesn't just bless their crops, but maybe nudges a few dreams along the way too, like updating your resume while stretched out on the floor, half hoping it sends career dreams into the digital ether. As night falls, the world seems aglow, the soft flicker of firelight reflecting in every eye, each flame a storyteller holding the secrets of past merriments. The air is rich with the scent of smoldering wood, mingling with the intoxicating sweetness of nearby flowers, each whispering their own timeless tales to the darkening sky. With a yawn breaking through your thoughts, you feel the gentle pull of sleep begin to settle in, a soft reminder from the universe to rest, to let dreams take hold and stories of fire-kissed adventures to cradle you into slumber. The night wraps around you, full of solace and serenity, breathing its own ancient lullabies into the lull of night, assuring that even as the fires die down, warmth and wonder can linger on. As your dreams linger in the embers of St. John's Eve, you awake to the soothing rustle of harvest season preparations and find yourself in the midst of Lammas Festival. The air is a rich tapestry of scents, freshly cut wheat, and the warm yeastiness of bread baking, infusing every breath with the promise of abundance. You step into a buttery soft dawn, where the fields are quilted with golden stalks, bowing gently with the weight of ripe grains. Lammas, marking the first harvest, falls on August 1st, a bridge between summer's exuberance and autumn's embrace. This festival was all about the earth's yield, where loaves of fresh bread became symbols of gratitude, often gifted as offerings or tokens of thanks. It's a bit like sending a meme that says 1,000 words, a bite of bread packed with 100 thanks. Here's where it gets a bit quirky. Communities would often bake the freshly harvested grain into elaborate shapes, sometimes attempting to craft miniature wheels of fortune, or suns, or as we might call it, prehistoric Pinteresting. These loaves were blessed in church, or offered in quirky local rituals, each bite an echo of tradition that tasted like history, embedded with just the tiniest hint of supper mischief. Historians still ponder whether Lammas was originally a peasant festivity that got seamlessly interwoven with religious traditions, or a religious tradition that cunningly adapted local customs. It's a delicious dilemma, one that tastes suspiciously like doubting if you really needed that extra slice, but fully knowing it was worth it for the story you'd remember in tomorrow's group chat. The festival isn't complete without its own smattering of lively fairs, with games that feel like the original inspiration for the feast or famine drama we immerse ourselves in on reality TV today. You'd likely engage in various challenges, from sack races to makeshift tug-of-wars, transporting you back to simpler times when everything was analog, even the games. While the sun lazily traces its arc across the sky, you'll find music and dancing weaving through the harvest gatherings, the kind of revelry that curls tightly through the fields, as if even nature cannot resist tapping along. Laughter seems to accompany the golden light, bouncing merrily off scythes and whispers of gossip, louder than grain sacks rustling beneath work-weary hands. And true to harvest spirit, even after the day draws long, the celebrations often continue under the faint blush of stars and moon, giving the fields a silvery, ethereal sheen. Evening slowly unfurls over the revelers, and you settle back, feeling the festival's life warmly tucked into the corners of your mind, along with memories of clinking glasses and sweet, crumbly cake. The night deepens, holding you gently, like a basket tenderly filled with earth's goodness. With contentment and gratitude ebbing through your thoughts, a deep calm begins to take root, a promise of restful sleep, welcomed with whispers of gratitude for the cycles of life and the stories dwelling deep within every woven ear of grain. Closing your eyes to the quiet lullaby of rustling leaves, sleep overtakes you, tucked into the glowing folds of another dreamy history. Still cradled in the echo of harvest festivities, you find yourself drifting further into the realm of seafaring tales and a peculiar holiday known as the Drunken Sailor's Day. Now, you might be expecting a rollicking sea shanty or two, but hang on to your slippers, because this one's a trip more wobbly than your phone screen at 2% battery life. Picture this: a weathered dock, creaking softly with the rhythms of tides and time. It's late September, when brisk winds carry the salty tang of adventure or a hint of mischief rolled on the high seas. As you wander through the world of ancient mariners, this outlandish holiday celebrates the voyages of sailors who, having served valiantly, or perhaps with reckless abandon, went ashore to share their tales over tankards of frothy ale and unsteady footing. Historians agree this day might not have been formally recognized in the grand annals of maritime history, yet who's to say it didn't exist in the between spaces, those lingering moments shared between sips and stumbles. Much like texting "on my way" while pulling on socks and hoping time will turn back a notch. It's a holiday shaping itself around maritime legends and tall tales that have been passed down through the rattling shanty songs and whispered anchor stories. Imagine a crew gathered in a shadowed tavern, smoke curling from clay pipes as tales pour out with jokes more groan-worthy than dad jokes slipped into every family WhatsApp group you secretly mute. And here's a little oddity. Sailors feared being caught in doldrums, windless stretches of sea, where ships might linger without breeze or motion. The holiday might revolve around keeping spirits buoyant, quite literally, when stranded days stretch into lonely twilights under silent stars. Think of it like that buffering circle you watch, waiting for Wi-Fi to resume so your streaming escapade can continue uninterrupted. In this half-remembered festival of mirth and fallacy, you'd find toasting not just for luck or safe passage, but to the friendship forged from the constraints of tight quarters and stormy waters. Your laughs would weave through tales of sea monsters and mermaids whispering to the obstinate gales, met with more skeptical headshakes than belief. Despite lacking any formal recognition, this celebration finds laughter in the face of vast uncertainty, the jovial comfort we seek even amidst churning waters. Like Googling how to get my life together at 3 a.m., only finding memes that reassure you it's all part of the cosmic plan of a great unknown. As evening sighs into the lull of the horizon, your thoughts drift serenely, as calm as ocean waves brushing the shore, soothed by melodies from seaborne dreams. Ship bells sing the world's regenerative lullaby over the settling harbor as your mind hums to their rhythm. weaving their own tide-bound dance into the restful slumber enveloping you gently. The night holds you in its hushed promise of dreams, buoyed by forgotten songs and ancient echoes, unfurling softly through the dark, where the storied past keeps you swaying, peaceful and secure, on the calm seas of your imagination, with the warm breeze of maritime tales still playing in your thoughts. You find yourself swept up into the lively origins of Oktoberfest, a festival so ingrained in today's world that even the most reserved of us may have secretly practiced our best Prost in the mirror. You step into early 19th century Bavaria, where the first rays of October sunlight wash over sprawling fields, teeming with anticipation and the ever-present promise of celebration. It all began back in 1810, when Prince Ludwig of Bavaria married Princess Therese of Saxony-Hildburghausen. Imagine an extravagant royal wedding cranked up to 11. Their matrimonial festivities were such a hit, they decided, why not do this every year? Kind of like when you finally find a meme your entire crew can relate to, and it just keeps getting sent back and forth, tethering everyone into a shared joy loop. Here's the odd side note. Originally, horse races were the main attraction of the festival, not beer. Seriously, try to whip up that image next time Oktoberfest pops into conversation. Picture majestic steeds thundering across wide expanses, stirrups flying like music notes only a slightly tipsy mind might envision after being serenaded by a brass oompa band. Historians still argue whether the horse races were the main centerpiece or more of a sideshow to some lingering earlier traditions. Maybe Bavarians thought, let's take a perfectly good celebration and add games, feasting, and music. And, oh yes, maybe some beer too, quite like deciding to bake banana bread with ingredients pieced together from the back of the cupboard one late-night quarantine brainstorm. As beer gradually became the star of the show, Munich transformed into a scene from a pastoral dream woven through trestle tables and endless merriment. Can you picture individuals tossing pretzels back like seasoned snack champions while donning lederhosen as if prepping for the Instagram story opportunities of the early 19th century? Throughout the festival, a youthful camaraderie springs up as effortlessly as the foam on a delicate head of ale. Imagine wandering through sun-dappled beer gardens and beer tents, holding a stein that feels slightly oversized yet perfectly reassuring, like the oversized hoodie you retreat to on a chill Sunday morning. Even modernly, Oktoberfest resonates with the vivid tapestry of joy and community spun into every dance and toast under the Bavarian sun. It's the kind of sprawling, jovial energy that could coax even the most introverted fairgoer into joining a raucous group chorus, or at least committing to a solid foot tap. As the day waltzes into twilight, the echoes of laughter carry over fields become softer. Stars unfurl across the velvet sky, painting it with whispers of revelry and timeless delight. You feel the warmth of shared stories, of moments beaded with laughter and glistening towers of camaraderie, lingering like the gentle aftertaste of toasted malt. Slipping further into the gentle cadence of the night, you let the melodic blend of old customs and spirited fellowship cradle your thoughts into restful tranquility. A vast, silent comfort threads itself through your dreams, hinting at further stories spun like golden threads, like the very dawn that waits to greet a world afresh. You wake to the delicate tapestry of morning light, entwined with the memory of gleaming steins and laughter, only to find yourself pulled into the fragrant folds of the Fête de la Saint-Fiacre. Picture the crisp, dewy air of early September wrapping around you as you stroll into a celebration that is more of a floral serenade than a harvest hullabaloo. Imagine stepping into a vibrant garden alive with blooms, where every colorful petal and delicate leaf tells a story as old as the soil. Fête de la Saint-Fiacre, held in honor of the patron saint of gardeners, Saint Fiacre himself, is a festival fragrant with gratitude for the earth's generosity. You feel wrapped in the silent promise of growth, surrounded by colors so vivid they seem to hum with joy. Here's the quirky twist. Saint Fiacre was actually known for his remarkable skills in herbal healing and gardening, which placed him in rather high regard among those who dabbled in the dirt. Think of him as the OG plant whisperer, a role so crucial that he eventually earned his own holiday, celebrated mainly in France and Ireland, where gardens spring to life in his honor. It's like finding that rare influencer who really can keep their succulents alive and doesn't need to photo edit green into the equation. Historians still wonder whether the tales of Saint Fiacre's miraculous garden were a result of hagiographic glow, legends formed over centuries, or if he truly possessed an unmatched green thumb. It's one of those curious mysteries like catching your cat perform an impressive feat, only for them to playfully pretend they're just ordinary felines again, keeping their secrets tightly swathed in fur. As garden enthusiasts gather, you find yourself marveling at intricate floral displays that might even put jungle-themed party decors to shame. Imaginations unfurl as people weave their floral dreams into wreaths for luck and love, as if managing to weave between the complicated jeté of TikTok dances yet to happen for another 1,000 years. Throughout the festival day, you encounter processionals gloriously adorned with flowers, each petal seeming to sing with the soul of the earth. It's a spectacle that blurs the line between garden and grand theater. Performances tucked gently into bouquets of color, which remind you of opening a new pack of highlighters. Each flash of color a promise of creativity. The sound of laughter ebbs like a tide through the greenery, backed by the gentle strum of lutes or whimsical fiddles. And you, captured by the melody, imagine these sacred gardens still hold whispers of Fiacre's mythical deeds, even amid the chatter. As twilight envelops the world in a cloak of gentle hues, the festival softens into a dreamscape draped in quiet shadows and fragrant tranquility. The scent of blooming lavender and the rustle of distant leaves become an orchestra of whispers, nudging the stories of the day to linger as you settle into night's cradle. Calm unfurls, flowing like a summer breeze laced with the lingering scents of blooms, and as you drift into the restful embrace of sleep, you're gently assured that the quiet beauty of creation still blossoms even when eyes are closed. Each breath mends the passing day into the fabric of night's gentle tapestry, tenderly folding dreams with petals of possibility until tomorrow's light breaks anew. Cradled by the serene hush of night, you drift into another tale woven with whimsy, the story of the ridiculous rout, a celebration that seems to nestle itself somewhere into the folds of your imagination, alongside wild fashion shows and dreams of eccentricity. Picture a grand hall, where the air itself feels buoyant with laughter and audacious creativity, like stepping into a kaleidoscope where each turn unveils something gloriously new. It's the heart of October, and you find yourself amidst a gathering not just filled with people, but an exuberant parade of garments that defy description. The ridiculous rout was the kind of social affair where fashion became a glorious spectacle, casting aside the mundane with extravagant gestures. Imagine the medieval version of Fashion Week, but with more layers and less practicality, where dressing to the nines was less of an option and more of an artistic endeavor, the kind of attire you'd wear if life were a non-stop costume party. Now, the odd joy of the ridiculous route, besides the impressive wardrobe acrobatics, was the unabashed mockery of it all. This wasn't just fashion for fashion's sake. It was a tongue-in-cheek nod to the absurdities of style, a revelry of silks and satins stretched to their breaking points with feathers and frills, where the lines between costume and couture blurred like the memory of a midnight snack, hastily devoured but whimsically satisfying. Historians still debate about the origins of this rambunctious affair. Some argue it began as a form of social satire, while others suspect it was a simple love letter to the playful absurdity, much like sending a text full of emoji hieroglyphs just to confuse everyone without ever solving the puzzle you've sent. Imagine the chuckles that followed each exclamation of, "Who are you wearing tonight?" As individuals drift by in garments that defy gravity itself, it's reminiscent of that perfect shot glass pyramid you might attempt when you believe your inner architect is calling. The head-turning ensembles are not merely for show. They engage the crowd with whispered asides and bubbling laughter attaching itself to the hems of passing gowns like charming pixies. Though the bountiful laughs fade gently against the lush drapes and stone columns, the atmosphere holds a promise of unsaid mirth. It echoes the sensation of keeping a group chat on mute, knowing well that the fun rolls on despite your absence, always ready to welcome you back into its rhythmic chaos. As the night matures, crystals of laughter and whispers of swirling silk give way to a calm that feels sewn from the upholstered fabric of dreams. A tranquil wave laps softly against your senses, drawing you lovingly into its depths as costumes become dramatically ethereal shadows, threading the dim mingling lights into a tapestry of relaxation and whimsy. With eyelids growing heavy, the crazy quilt of absurdity wrapped comfortably around you, you find the wear of the day's confections slipping away, a gentle sigh on the breath of a history tempered with tenderness and playful grandeur. Sleep descends gently, like the final strokes of a painter completing their masterpiece, a canvas of calm nestled among the dreamy echoes of fashioning futures and pasts from corner seams of human ingenuity. As the gentle thrum of the past gives way to another story, you find yourself embracing the festive bustle of Twelfth Night celebrations, a crescendo that signals the end of Christmas merriment. Imagine stepping into a cozy chamber filled with warmth and laughter, firelight casting a golden glow over beaming faces as snow dusts the world just beyond the glow of frosted windows. It's the night of January 5th, and you're invited to a celebration that feels delightfully reckless in its abundance, where tradition gleefully skips alongside a sense of mischievous farewell. Twelfth Night, a time when all manner of merry chaos was both expected and encouraged before the solemnity of winter truly took hold. It's a bit like that final click of sending all your emails at once before closing the screen for a digital detox, knowing full well you'll peak again far sooner than intended. Here's the quirky tradition: the chance to crown a king or queen of misrule. Here, a simple cake could elevate one lucky, or perhaps wily, guest to regency status for an evening, if they found the hidden bean or pea baked within. Imagine this tiny edible treasure causing quite the stir, much like tossing a spicy meme into a group chat. It's innocent until everyone starts vying for that coveted, albeit temporary, crown. Historians are still at loggerheads over whether Twelfth Night originated as a straightforward conclusion of Christmastide, or if it unfurled from deeper, pagan roots tied to the winter solstice. There's a tension between the sacred and the secular, a gentle tug of war, akin to choosing between healthy salads and delicious cupcakes, where both allure in their own deliciously contrary ways. The Twelfth Night festivities spill over every sense, with revelry captured in the sway of dancers weaving through the room, laughter mingling in the fragrant air, and voices spinning dreams through song. The feast reaches out, a banquet not just of food, but of friendship and shared merriment, where plates of roasted meats and rich wines invite endless cheer. And just when you think the night couldn't hold more enchantment, theatrical performances and masquerades slip into the scene with playful elegance. It's medieval pageantry at its finest, with attendees disguised under masks, their eyes alight with stories only they know. A little like those moments in life when you truly feel seen, even amidst playful anonymity. As festivities wind down, your thoughts drift, finding solace in the cozy warmth expressed through woven tales of camaraderie. The laughter slips softly into the stillness of the night, like a lull in conversation, so comfortable it feels like slipping into a favorite novel, the kind that waits patiently, night after night, to pick up the next chapter. In the quiet that follows, enveloped by gentle murmurs and fading candlelight, you surrender to the tranquil rhythm of time's lullaby. Each breath a peaceful heartbeat echoing through the space. The world around you slows to a tranquil phase, and sleep beckons, a companion ready to guide you through dreams stirred by the echoes of joy and friendship from undimmed nights of celebration. From the glow of Twelfth Night, you find the nights stretching onwards, carrying whispers and chuckles, guiding you toward the curious celebration of All Fool's Day. No, not April, but a shrugging off of winter's dour mood with a twinkle of humor, where everything and nothing was as it seemed. Picture a world slightly askew, like waking from a dream where everything is familiar, yet imbued with playful oddity. It's the cusp of spring, and the air dances with possibilities, a time primed for pranks, where social rules waver just enough to allow a gentle rebellion dressed as jest. Imagine stepping into this carnival of folly, where jesters swirl through streets, their antics a balm against past winter's sternness. Feel the peal of trumpets and chattering crowds, the smell of fresh earth mixing with the food stalls that line the paths. Scents tantalizing as they tempt and tease like secrets waiting to be spilled. Here's the light-hearted twist. All Fool's Day was less about trickery and more an opportunity to poke fun at everyone, high and low, with a jovial spirit as the ringleader. It was a day where a noble might find feathers stuck in their hats, or serving maids jesting with lords who laughed in return. More of a playful confetti toss of the class system than formal upheaval, akin to juggling while riding a unicycle. The laughs are only successful if everyone joins in the circus. Historians are a bit muddled trying to pinpoint its true origins. Was it an ancient Roman festival, or a manifestation of the human need to bring levity to life's endless routine? Like trying to untangle holiday lights, each theory equally tangled with its own set of wires and possibilities. Amid the shenanigans, wit cascades like a playful brook, bubbling over kind-hearted barbs and gags exchanged in good spirits. perfectly echoing the infectious laughter of sharing an unexpected meme that takes hold far longer than initially thought. Everywhere, you see friendly silliness taking the reins, jesters in bright motley, mirrored by villagers wearing masks and donking caps. A kaleidoscope of humanity turned delightfully absurd. Imagine your Instagram feed caught in endlessly repeating boomerangs of mischief, ceaseless looping onto itself, much like the enduring playfulness threading through every giggle and grin. As shadows lengthen, the day's playful antics mellow into a tapestry of nighttime comfort, casting the world in soft hues of tranquility. Stars glisten overhead like scattered diamonds sewn into the vast curtain of the night sky, twinkling, perhaps knowingly, mischievously aware of the tricks we play as confetti laughs trickle away. With All Fool's Day fading out like a whisper, your heart gently beats to a rhythm infused with laughter and levity. A glorious sense of peace wraps you softly, coaxing even the most restless thoughts into a gentle slumber, companioned by the warmth of dreams sweetly spun from human whimsy, finally cradling you into a restful sleep, where every corner carries an echo of shared mirth and laughter-soaked memories. As the tickle of All Fool's Day humor fades, you find your senses embraced by the vibrant anticipation of the Almost Fornication Festival, a name that alone invites a sly smile. This tantalizing whisper of a celebration, never quite mainstream, but persistently lingering in the shadows of history, dances somewhere between springtime mischief and the outright brazen delight of love unrestrained. It's early May, and you find yourself enveloped in a world where nature seems to shout its vibrant exuberance from every petal and leaf. Imagine flowers stretching towards the sun, with the yearning vigor of a teenager leaning into life's first blushes of romance. A landscape where the natural world recites poetry, each blossom a stanza filled with perfume and promise. Here's the cheeky side note. This festival seemed to tiptoe along the lines of propriety, notorious for being as much about the celebration of, well, earthly desires, as it was about the somber altars it was purported to divert from. It was a time when folks might slyly avert their eyes or share knowing glances, much like pretending to not see the reality TV lineup when it absolutely becomes your weekend guilty pleasure. Though this festival remains on the fringes of widely recognized celebrations, historians debate if it ever held formal roots, or whether it lingered persistently in whispered local lore as something between myth and merriment, like the adulthood version of swearing you'll never text your ex, while clearly both scrolling through old messages. During this carnival of life, love, and laughter, the air vibrates with music, suggesting wanton whimsy. Laughter brightly trails behind as people gather under trellis and bough. Kind of like the Wi-Fi buffer you hope means something magical is on its way. It never fully emerges from history, leaving only traces of its merry footsteps behind. Imagine scenes scattered with ribbons or garlands, echoing the boisterous joys of togetherness. Circles of dancers entwined, hearts set astir, merry pursuers and pursued, playing until breathless and content. It's as if the day mischievously nudges you towards the delights of life, just waiting to snatch those stolen kisses or casual embraces just outside the charged limits of stoic propriety. A day when reality itself slips a little, perhaps knowingly, into imagined perfection. Even as the twilight deepens, the air holds a charge, a shared secret among stars that wink as if they know every story waiting to unfold, every dream daring to unfurl. The day nestles into the night, its curious mix of revelry and romantic current settling into a caress, wishing you quieter dreams, strewn with gentle recollections of joy and abandon. And so, as your thoughts soften and your senses loosen into the embrace of sleep, the Almost Fornication Festival offers a gentle lullaby of whispers and warmth. Breathing softly, you're coaxed into a slumber where stories mingle with the echoes of laughter and life, carrying you gently into peaceful, unyielding rest until morning breaks anew with a fresh canvas for tomorrow's hues.